Sure, you could just go to Japan, but who has all that time to spend on a plane when you could be spending it playing video games? Hey, it's Game Rant, and here are the 10 best JRPGs set in Japan, ranked. Number 10, Tokyo Xanadu EX Plus. No, sadly, this does not involve roller skates or newspaper barons. Tokyo Xanadu EX Plus is about an unlucky high school student entering a shadow dimension known as the Eclipse. That might sound counterintuitive to our list, but in truth, the team behind Tokyo Xanadu created their own Morimiya City out of bits and pieces of Tokyo landmarks around the Nihon Falcom offices. It's that patchwork creation, in addition to the compelling crafting and cooking systems, as well as the hack and slash combat, that made this a favorite for Vita owners before coming to the PlayStation 4, Switch, and PC. And there's nothing more Japanese than a PlayStation Vita exclusive. Number 9, Inazuma 11-2. Japan, despite its smaller size comparative to other countries, is still a rather large piece of land, full of diverse experiences. And Inazuma 11-2 is certainly less metro and more suburban. But like almost everywhere else in the world, it's also completely obsessed with soccer, or football as it's mostly known. Inazuma 11-2 reads like a story written by an overly excited 12-year-old. Aliens invade Earth, and their method of combat surprisingly puts a band of children soccer players as Earth's last hope. Logical? It certainly is not. But even going through the smoldering wreckage, it has all the sense of place of Yokai Watch and Professor Layton. And what more would you expect than from the same developer, Level 5? But it is still pretty weird they made alien soccer RPGs. Number 8, Shin Megami Tensei 3, Nocturne. It's not a phase, Mom, it's Shin Megami Tensei 3 Nocturne, the older and in some respects cooler brother of the Persona series. The core Shin Megami Tensei has all the horror of the Persona franchise without any of the chill. Now this is technically Tokyo. Sure, it has pierced the thin veil between time and eternity, creating an otherworldly scape which is now flooded with angels and demons of alternative alliances. So essentially it's an afternoon in a Japanese Hot Topic. But this dreamy rendition of Tokyo has never been more accessible. After 17 years on the PlayStation 2, Shin Megami Tensei 3 Nocturne finally leapt from that aging hardware and onto the PlayStation 4, Switch, and PC in a remaster. Just a heads up though, it's kinda creepy. Number 7, Pokemon Conquest. When it comes to turn-based tactical role-playing games, we could have picked from any number of Nintendo DS classics. But hey, let's have some fun and look at a game where Pokemon waddle their way around feudal Japan to participate in warfare. How adorable! And who better to spearhead this project than Tecmo Koei, the same company behind Nobunaga's Ambition, which isn't very popular anywhere but Japan, despite being an exceptionally strong tactical franchise. But sprinkle a bit of Jigglypuff and Eevee on there, and it instantly becomes more palatable to Western tastes. Let that be a lesson to all developers everywhere. Jigglypuff is the key. Number 6, Tokyo Mirage Sessions Sharp FE Encore. Okay, hang on to your hats everyone, because this time we're heading to, you guessed it, Tokyo. But it's been warped by multi-dimension warriors. Alright, we've already seen this more than a few times on this list. But this one is centered around the power of music. And the bad guys, well, they're working together to end all creativity everywhere. Clearly it's going to take not one, but two popular Japanese role-playing game properties, in this case Persona and Fire Emblem, to save the future of funk music. Sure, it's a silly concept, but the premise keeps everything light and bright even in the darker moments. This one almost got lost on the Wii U, but thankfully has since come to the Nintendo Switch, where people again decided not to play it. Oh, come on! Number 5, Live Alive. In a rather unexpected turn, Square Enix went through their old bag of properties and recalled Live Alive, a long-forgotten SNES or more specifically Super Famicom RPG where players could play a series of events in any sequence they decided. Included in this was an entire story of a young shinobi invading an elaborate palace using both stealth and combat to complete their master's task. The recent remake utilizes a mix of classic 2D graphics and modern rendering. Whole portions of the screen will go dark to emphasize moody purple hallways, and courtyards are crafted in complex 3D pixel environments. Historically accurate? Absolutely not, but it is sure pretty to look at. Number 4, Neo, The World Ends With You. The surprise sequel to The World Ends With You retains every bit of its Shibuya texture, with environments name-checking areas of the district and the chic fashion sense you would expect from a high-class shopping center. Less predictable is how two teenage friends accidentally enroll into a real-life fighting game where they must work together to survive against unknown forces while adapting to their new and growing arsenal of powers, including telepathy. Yeah, bet you didn't see that one coming. But even before being granted that ability, the screen is packed with the thoughts of surrounding NPCs, giving the players at home all of that city anxiety. Hooray! Number 3. Yakuza, Like a Dragon. Truth be told, any of the Yakuza games could have easily fit on this list, as they're all RPGs in one way or another. But it wasn't until Like a Dragon that the series took the full genre shift from action beat-em-up to turn-based and tactical combat. Not to mention a completely new protagonist with Ichiban replacing Kiryu. It all sounds rather risky, but when strolling through the familiar streets of Kamurocho, it just feels right. Taking in a few classic Sega arcade games, or attempting to win a prize at the claw machine, or spending an afternoon gambling, or caving in the heads of strangers. It all just feels like a good time. Number 2. 13 Sentinels, Aegis Rim. 13 Sentinels plot is far and away the most dense on this list, with some going so far as to declare it an interactive anime or manga. Call it whatever you want, this is among the most beautiful games on this list, utilizing lush 2D art to create a nostalgic version of 1980s Japan that, of course, descends into a battle of giant robots. Even more impressive, it manages to pull this off using multiple protagonists and a story that hops back and forth in time. 13 Sentinels, like so many others on this list, takes place in an alternative history of Japan. But hey, it gives us mecha missile attacks, so we're cool with it. Number 1. Persona 4 Golden. Yeah, this one was pretty obvious. We here at Game Rant attempt to keep our lists interesting, and even though we could have put a few different Persona games on this list, we ultimately decided it would be more dynamic to pick one per series. And there's no doubt Persona is the best RPG series to take place in Japan. But in particular, Persona 4 Golden's small-town sense of isolation is the winner. If you're looking for Tokyo, you've got plenty of other options. But the slow atmosphere of a low-traffic area makes this story of youthful rebellion all the more relatable. Anyway, that's gonna do it for this list. Why don't you let us know what is your favorite depiction of Japan in games, and we'll be sure to check out your answers. Keep clicking around here on Game Rant, and we'll see you next time.